Good morning, everybody. This is a great day. I am absolutely ecstatic to see this day have come. I think we are being able to experience today what many thought was impossible. And it would not be unreasonable to have thought this was impossible, because I think folks have been waiting for close to 3 decades for something to be done with Skyland. I want to thank all those folks who are here. I'm delighted to have been the council member in Ward 7, and then to be the chairman of the council, and then to be in a position to be able to really get this done. I said to some folks that, you know, as I came into office, that if we got nothing else done in this administration, we were going to get Skyland done. And today is the day. It really has been about 3 decades, and I want to thank a lot of people. And if I miss somebody by name, please forgive me. So let me start out with this. I want to thank everybody today, everybody. I especially want to thank Gary Rappaport, who is with Rappaport Development. I want to thank Chris Smith, who's with W.C. Smith, a longtime friend and a great friend of the city. I want to thank the Washington East Foundation, which is represented, I think, today by Carrie Thornhill. Right, Carrie? All right. Harrison Malone Development is here today. And by the way, you know, these projects are so old that so long-standing, let me put it that way, so long-standing, that there are people who moved on to a number of different positions by the time you get to this day. And Merrick, I guess this was lingering around when you were the deputy mayor, is that right? Lingering no more. Marshall Heights Community Development Organization as well. And I also want to acknowledge the council members here, of course, Councilmember Yvette Alexander, who represents Ward 7. I know you must be happy.
Delighted.
I see Councilmember Jack Evans. He is here as well. You know, Jack, you talk about how long your tenure is on the council. This project is more longer tenure than you are. And I want to thank all of those in my administration who have really worked hard. I want to start with our Deputy Mayor, Victor Hoskins. Please. You know, that's really nice, polite applause, ladies and gentlemen, but I work with Victor every day. I know how hard this man works. I know how bright he is. I know how creative he is. I'm going to ask you all, let's rewind and come back again. Give it up for Victor Hoskins. And of course, the Office of the Attorney General. Is anybody here from OEG? Oh, come on over, man. Come on over. Herb Nathan could not be here today, but Ariel is here, and he has worked very hard along with the attorneys in the Office of the Attorney General. What a complicated deal this was, right, Ariel? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. He's so excited he wants to speak. It is. I mean, this gentleman and Herb and the other attorneys working in that office have done a phenomenal job. The complications associated with this project are absolutely extraordinary, because this was an eminent domain project. And there were lots of people who owned property here as well. And they all had to be worked with. Is that right, Ariel? Is that right?
That's right. We filed cases in 2005 all the way through 2012, as the mayor said. And I also want to acknowledge Bill Burke from our office, who's here, who worked on every single one of those cases, all the way from the trial court to the last case in 2012 to the Supreme Court. We're really delighted to assist
You know, for those of you who may not know, I live close by, and I go into CVS probably, I don't know, maybe 3 times a week. And of course, needless to say, I've gotten to know lots of people in the CVS. And I was in there the other night, and there were folks who were, you know, people who work there, who I think they were younger than the length of this project has been languishing. And they were very interested in it. They wanted to know, you know, about CVS coming back. They wanted to know, and they seemed to actually know a lot more than I thought they probably would about the history of this project. And they said, you know, they said to me, we never thought something like this would happen in Southeast. And frankly, it is, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what one city is, and that is trying to be a place, no matter where you live, that geography doesn't define your future. That geography should be an enabler to help you get to where you want to get to. So go down and talk. CVS is the only place that's left open at this stage. Everything else is gone. And by the way, the businesses that were here, we helped with their relocation. Some of them have relocated to other parts of the city. Some of them have chosen to do other things. But this was not a callous process that was engaged in. It was a very sensitive process, and it's one of the reasons why it took so long in the last couple of years to be able to get to the finish line. I don't think I have to say a lot about this shopping center. I mean, all you have to do is look around. This is a, I guess it's generous to call it a shopping center, right, Paul? Generous to call it a shopping center. It's a little bit of everything. You have a CVS, and you had a liquor store, and you had a post office, and you had a how many? I think we got 2 or 3 laundromats. We have Murray Steak over here. And for those who don't know, where that auto zone is used to be a Safeway, and the Safeway moved out. And over here, where the Murray Steaks was, used to be a Giant. And of course, the Giant left as well during an era when Giant was relocating outside the District of Columbia. Now they've come back as well. So we've invested a lot of money into getting to this point. The acquisition, the tenant relocation process, the property management issues, as well as the legal fees associated with that. And we do have an anchor tenant. The anchor tenant is Walmart. And I want to thank Walmart, because I was personally involved in this. I knew unless we got an anchor that we would go absolutely nowhere. And I talked to a lot of people. I did that in Las Vegas when we went to the shopping center convention, and I did it on the phone with folks, you know, literally begging them to come to Skyland, because I knew unless we got an anchor tenant that there would be no Skyland Town Center that would be developing. And so talked to Walmart many times. They had already agreed, I think, to do 4 stores in the city, and back and forth. And finally, Walmart said, yes, we're going to do 2 additional stores in the District of Columbia, one up in Riggs Park, and we're going to do the Skyland Town Center also. And that has gotten this process started. We thank the council for their work in being able to get us to where we are today. On March 4th, the council passed the Skyland Town Center Omnibus Act, and there were several council members who were involved in that. It involved the designating of the property as surplus, disposition plan, and also being able to reauthorize a TIF. Some of you all will remember we got a TIF approved several years ago for $40 million. The timetable ran out on that, and we had to get it reauthorized, which we did, to be able to make the financing investments that were important here. There will be a Main Street like shopping experience here that will not be like any other in this area of the city, maybe unlike any other in the District of Columbia. And there will be, I think, around 400 units of housing that will be built here as well. There will be, and this is really important, there will be 300 construction jobs, and there will be 300 permanent jobs that will be created here. And we hope that 600 of those jobs, that would be 300 and 300. Yes, I went to school, ladies and gentlemen, so I can add and subtract. that would be 600 jobs that we hope will go to the people of the District of Columbia, and hopefully people, as many as possible, on this east end of the District of Columbia. And for those of you who don't know, I don't use the term east of the river anymore. I will say east end, and the reason is because as soon as you say east of the river, people in that little voice in their head goes, other side of the tracks. Well, I live over here, right? And I don't live on the other side of the tracks. I live in a vibrant, wonderful neighborhood, and I've lived here for about 30 years. So, you know, in addition to the jobs that are being created, what it's going to create is a rich shopping experience for people. You know, town centers, when they're done well, they really become a magnet. They become a catalyst for activity. I've watched what's happened in the shops at Dakota, and I go, this sounds strange, but I do this kind of stuff. I ride through the parking lot and look at the tags. And the reason why I do that is because, right, Victor, one of our 6 visions is to end retail leakage. And so I just wanted to see what the retail leakage is in Dakota, or stopping retail leakage. And typically when you go through there, and Councilmember McDuffie, we welcome you. I know Dakota Shops is a very important part of Ward 5, an important part of what you are involved in as well. And good morning, Councilmember Bonds. We're glad you're here too. We're all really excited today. But I ride through the parking lot, and about half the tags up there in the Costco are DC tags. And the other half are Maryland and Virginia tags, which means that we're not only stopping retail leakage in the District of Columbia, we're helping to create retail leakage in those jurisdictions because they are coming into the District of Columbia to be able to spend their money. And frankly, for those who've been to Pentagon City, the Costco out there, the parking is really a challenge. It's not such a challenge when you come to Costco in the shops at Dakota. So anyway, there are a number of speakers who we're going to hear from today. I want to introduce somebody at this stage who really has done a phenomenal job with the District of Columbia. He's just a wonderful person. Somebody I'm proud to call a friend. I worked with him when I was with Covenant House. He assisted us to be able to build a new community service center, which is now a part of the ARC. And he took over Parklands when Parklands was really in desperate shape and nobody wanted to deal with it. And you go down and look at Parklands now, it is just a different experience altogether. He's now in the throes of building a new residential effort down on New Jersey Avenue. That is moving rapidly along. If you ride down the freeway, the Southeast-Southwest freeway, and going east, you look up to your right, and you'll see this building that is going up. That is the William C. Smith building also. So please join me in welcoming a person who has done so much for the District of Columbia, Chris Smith.
Well, on behalf of the entire Skyland development team, good morning and welcome. Not surprising, we have so many individuals who would like to speak today, because any development that has been going on as long as this one has certainly had a number of people touch the development. And so, but first off, I'd just like to share the fact that when Mayor Gray first came into office back in January of 2010, I think it was the first week in office. Pardon me? 2011. Sorry, I'm mixing up my dates here. 2011, we were asked to come to a meeting at his office and to talk about Skylands. And so at the meeting, Gary Rappaport and myself went to it, was Victor Hoskins. Now, Victor wasn't even scheduled to start work till February, but the mayor already had him in there because Skyland was such a top priority for him when he was a Ward 7 council member, when he was chair of the council, and now as mayor. And I can say that I think Skylands would have happened. I'm not sure in any of our lifetimes it would have happened, but it would have happened. But between the duo of the mayor and Victor, just as most of you already know about all the legal suits and everything else that had to be settled. So now, along with them, we've also had to depend on the council too. And so I'd like to ask the council member from Ward 7, Yvette Alexander, to come up. And I thought to myself, you know, if I had $1 for every community meeting she's been to, or for every meeting we've had with her, I could fund the ARC for about 5 years. Thank you.
Good morning. This is an exciting day in Ward 7, and I see my colleagues here, and it really took a lot of effort. I'm so thankful for Mayor Gray with his focus and vision for the city, but also with his focus on his home, Ward 7. And it's evident today and so many other projects across the ward that I'm really excited about. But this project in general, I really have to, when you mentioned, Chris, about the community meetings, I really have to thank my Ward 7 community, because they've hung in there and they've kept the faith for many, many years. I see Paul Savage, you've kept the faith. And it's so, so exciting for you to see this day happen. To our ANC commissioners, Robin Marlin, ANC 7B, and Commissioner Zena Williams, they really kept the community abreast of every step of the way what was going on with Skyland. And Gary Rappaport, I have to say, he's a developer with passion, commitment, and a heart. I've never seen a developer go to so many community meetings in my life. I mean, they really, and I can honestly say that, Gary. We have a lot going on in the city. You and ANC, you might as well become an ANC commissioner. I mean, you are an honorary ANC commissioner. But it took so much commitment. And this actually, the omnibus bill, Mr. Mayor, went through 4 committees on the council. So I see my colleagues here, and I have to thank them again. Finance and Revenue, Councilmember Jack Evans. Let's give him a hand. The Committee of the Whole, and our at-large council member, Anita Bonds, who supports Ward 7. Our Committee of Government Op, Kenya McDuffie. I have to thank our chairman, Phil Mendelson, and our Economic Development, and went through Economic Development too, Councilmember Muriel Bowser. This is really a success story, and this is really going to make a difference in Ward 7. It's going to make a difference for our community in terms of jobs, not only during the project, but most importantly, keeping the jobs after the project. For all the great retail that we're going to get here, it's going to bring more residents to the ward. For those of us who want to stay in Ward 7, we have options to stay in Ward 7.
Our next speaker is no stranger. In fact, he's the longest tenured council member in the District of Columbia. He understands the importance of tax increment financing, and he has supported all the major public-private partnerships around the city, and Skyland has been no exception. So we'd like to welcome up Councilmember Jack Evans.
Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. What a great day it is in Ward 7 today for the Skyland Shopping Center. And I can't tell you, I remember the first meeting we had on this, Pierre L'Enfant and George Washington. We sat down over at the White House and talked to them about this thing, and somehow it fell off their radar screen. But then when Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln got involved, I thought, Mr. Mayor, at that point in time, I thought we had a shot. But fell out, the Civil War got in the way, and, you know, next thing you know, no Skyland. But it came to Mayor Gray, and his administration came into office. We once again revved up the engine, and today, we are here today to celebrate a great, great victory. So give everybody a round of applause. This is terrific. You know, there's a lesson to be learned in this. You know, I always say I've been on the council 23 years, the longest serving council member. So I've seen a lot happen in our city, and there's a lesson to be learned in this. In my ward, we used to do these kind of things, and I remember at Kennedy Playground, it took us 11 years to get the playground done. The convention center, I said to Emily Dorso once, if you and I go out there and put a brick down every day, we'll get the convention center built faster than the city will, you know? And the lesson in all of this is persistence. That is that's what I've learned. If you are persistent, if you stay focused and you get the right people involved, eventually you'll get to where you're trying to get to. So I am very pleased to be here today. I remember, Mr. Mayor, when we were out in Las Vegas, when we met with Walmart, and the mayor was terrific. He said, if you're going to build 4 stores elsewhere in the city, you're going to build one at Skyland. And that's what you did. And give the mayor a big round of applause, Mr. Mayor. He was very focused on getting that done. And then the rest of putting all of this together, the council members who were very involved in this, the financing. It's kind of funny. We did do the TIF several years ago, then we had to do the TIF all over again. So we're glad to have that done. And I see my former colleague and Chairman Kwame Brown here, and he was involved in this too. Give Kwame a big round of applause. Remember when I think you were chairman when we did the first TIF, so it's very exciting to do that. This is only the first step, though. When this is done, there'll be many more development projects in Ward 7 and throughout the city, and we are the most dynamic city in America today, and that is absolutely the case. And when the mayor and I were up on Wall Street a week ago on Wednesday, right, Mr. Mayor, they said to us that we had the best finances of any city that had appeared before them in the last 2 years. That is an enormous achievement. Enormous achievement. So again, I want to thank you all, everyone who is involved in this, the community, the government, the private sector. This is a real victory for all of us. So thank you and God bless.
Well, as mentioned previously, Skyland's had to get approved through 4 different council committees. And so I'd like to ask Kenyon McDuffie, Councilmember McDuffie, to come up and say a few words because we had to go through his committee of government operations.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ward 7.
Good morning.
What a privilege it is to be here today with all of you to share in this joyous moment. I'm delighted to follow somebody I probably should refer to affectionately as the council's founding father, Jack Evans, who's been here for quite some time. Were you in that meeting with them, Jack, with George Washington? Okay. You bring so much historical knowledge to this process. I appreciate that. Look, it's true. This project has been contemplated for quite some time. It started probably when I was a lot younger, before I had all this gray hair that I have right now. And it is really no small feat to closing an 18-acre deal that is involved with this project that exists today. And I have to tell you, I know I represent Ward 5, but I'm the chair of the Committee on Government Operations. And as the chair of that committee, I had the opportunity to really see this plan and study it, and really to truly appreciate the achievement that this groundbreaking represents here today. I've been around long enough to know that there's been a lot of work and effort that has gone into this, and I think that the mayor and the community deserve a round of applause for all their work. Because it truly takes a mayor with vision, a deputy mayor with vision, and a community with great resolve to arrive at this day today. It takes a council member who's been focused like a laser on trying to make this happen, Yvette. It is so important that we get here today, but that we come back after this is finished and cut the ribbon on this great project. I represent Ward 5, and I got to tell you, I've seen firsthand how you stop retail leakage and how you open up projects that go a long way to keeping our tax dollars right here in the city. That Costco project, by the way, is a phenomenal project. When we opened that, we had a lot of residents from the city who were so proud of that day. But we also had a lot of residents from Virginia and Maryland who were proud too, because they're still coming here every single day of the week to spend money right here in our community. And that's what I want to see here happen on this side of town, the east end, Mayor Gray, of the city today. So I'm pleased to be here today, and I can't wait to come back and cut the ribbon. Thank you all for letting me be a part of this really great day.
As they say, it takes a village, so we're the village of council members. So our next council member, who's had a long history of civic involvement, I'd like to invite up Councilmember Anita Bonds. Councilmember at large, say a few words.
Well, good morning, afternoon, everyone, because this is a day that will extend into the evening and for a few years as we get this project out of the ground and before us. And then we'll all be shopping here, right? Yeah. All right. And we'll have all our Maryland and Virginia friends coming over to see it, enjoy it, and come back with their dollars on a regular basis, correct? Yes. Is that right, Miss Marlin? All right. Okay, this is really a wonderful day. And, you know, when I had an opportunity to go with my colleagues to the shopping center, as I call it, extravaganza, and to meet in Las Vegas. And we were meeting, as the mayor has attested to. It was really fantastic to see the mayor and the other officials of our government negotiating and making it very clear, no matter what we do, we've got to have Skyland. And we just thought it was a dream. We know that the community has wanted it, has spoken out for it many, many, many times, many years. But now we have it. Am I right, Mr. Hammond? All right. Okay, we have it, and this is such a rewarding time for the community. Special, special thanks go out to Mayor Gray, because he was more than steadfast. He was resolved, and I must tell you, when we had to vote a certain way, we weren't quite sure, but we were there because it was the right thing for the community, to bring about this shopping center, to bring about jobs for our community. So I thank you all for being steadfast. I thank you all for giving me an opportunity to just be here with you and to enjoy today. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, this next speaker hit the ground running back in February of 2011. In fact, after that meeting in the mayor's office, he asked Gary Rappaport and myself to come to his office so he could lay out the plan in terms of critical path timeline. And so he laid out the fact that he was going to close all of these lawsuits in less than 24 months. Now, I'm just happy that he didn't see Gary and I roll our eyes as, you know, what we wanted to say was, we've heard this before. And so, but true to his word, he got all the lawsuits closed within 24 months and a number of other items that you run into when you have a very complicated development. So please join me in welcoming and Victor Hoskins. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. First of all, I have the most grateful heart in this room today. This is not just a great day. This is a spectacular day. And I want to thank the mayor for his leadership and his vision on creating one city. The Skyland Project is a prime example of one city. It creates job opportunities and brings much needed retail services and amenities to a community that really has been starved for these amenities. I want to also acknowledge several people who've worked tirelessly on this project. Jeff Miller, my director of real estate. Namita Shaw, who is an absolute superstar. She's right there. She's She was a project manager. She's now Deputy Director of Real Estate, and it's because of the incredible work that she did on this project. I can't even express to you how much paperwork she sent. It was like 7 stacks of books across the room, 4 feet high, that she sent over to HUD to clarify some issues, and I want to thank her so much for that effort. Aisha Abbasi, our legal affairs and policy specialist. Polina Bakhtiyarov, who is our Great Streets Director. Rodney George, Project Manager. And now I'm going to talk about the OAG office, the Office of Attorney General. I have to tell you something. When I first sat down with these folks, okay, so I told these guys 24 months. I didn't tell them what the attorneys told me. They told me 7 to 8 years. And I told them that I've never had a job for 7 to 8 years, so I don't even know how you do that. But I know the mayor wasn't having it, so I wouldn't have my job for 7 to 8 years. But Susan Longstreet, who is an absolute superstar, I don't know if she's here, but Susan Longstreet did a tremendous job on leadership on this team. Jen Castor, who is one of the rising stars. You see, I keep saying stars because it's a constellation of stars, not just one star. Mark Alberta, Pat Allen, Emily Morris, David Fisher, and the amazing Bill Burke, who had just done a tremendous job on this tirelessly. Ted Henneberry, Carl Schiffler, Todd Kim, and listen, that was on the OAG side. And then we had partners at HUD. You guys may not know this gentleman, but Marv Turner, would you please stand up? Marv Turner is a regional director from HUD. If we did not have this man, we would not have O Street Market, Progression Place, Skyland Shopping Center. He has been an ally. He has been a partner, and not just a partner in words. He's actually a partner in money, which is kind of the best money part, right? Thank you, Marv, so much. And then John Ross from the OCFO's office. I don't know if John is here. A lot of you guys never see this guy, but behind every transaction stands John Ross. John Ross is protecting your money. He is the one that kind of reminds us patiently and kindly that this is taxpayers' money and this is an investment. And that's one of the reasons why revenues are so high in the city now. But I want to thank John Ross and his team for all their tremendous work. And then there are 4 directors that I have to recognize. Director Michael Kelly from DHCD. Director Nick Majette from DCRA. Where's Nick? Nick, are you standing in here? Nick Majette. Okay, guys, you want permits? That's the man to go to. Terry Bellamy, Director of Department of Transportation. Is Terry here? Terry's not here? Listen, guys, you have no idea what that man has done for this city. And then finally, Brian Hanlon. I've probably given Director Brian Hanlon of DGS more heartburn than a pizza. This man, I wake him up in the middle of the night. He has done some spectacular things, like recently the Strand Theater. And before that, okay, so we came to him and we said, okay, we want to build this pavilion at the at St. Elizabeth's. We want to build it in 3 months. And he walked in the room and he went, 3 months. I think I need to talk to Alan Liu about this. And Director Liu gave him all the support he needed, and he just missed it by a couple of days, but I want to thank him so much for his tireless work on this project in particular. So thank you so much, Brian. Some may say this project is a mess. Some may say this project was a hot mess. 40 parcels, 15 different property owners, 29 tenants. It couldn't have been uglier. There's no way I could have imagined anything more complicated and difficult. But I have to tell you, I had a lot of fun getting this done with this team. Because you know what? I just tell them, but we can do this. Why can't we do this? Listen, we just did Shops of the Dakotas. That was 28 years. This is only like 25. So we're going to see 305,000 square feet of retail here, 30 stores, 450 to 500 residential units, 143 of those will be affordable units. It is going to continue the transformation of this neighborhood. I want to end by thanking the mayor and saying that this man stands by his commitments. I have never met a man with more integrity, determination, or a harder work ethic. I told him one day, I said, you know, Mayor, I have yet to meet a person that can outwork me. And you know what? You're that man. And I'm telling you, I'm serious. He was emailing me at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, what is this man doing? And that was just a week ago. He really cares about this city. And I'm just going to end with this, with a quote from a famous orator. That's not coasting, that's leadership.
I think it's obvious without Victor's enthusiasm for development, and especially for Skylands, he couldn't have gotten through all of the myriad issues that he has. And so I'd just like to recognize the Smith team in Matt Ritz and Brad Fennell, Jeff Smith, and Nick Finelli, who work on the project management team for Smith Company. In fact, Nick Finelli was graduating 8th grade when this project started. So, and the entire Smith team, thank you. And now we've saved the best for last. We're going to hear from what is the original Skylands team. See, Smith Company, we're a newcomer. We've only been on the team for 8 years. But they've been in the trenches for 13 years. And, you know, when you join a partnership, you're not quite sure about your partners until you're actually in the trenches with them, working out financial arrangements and dealing with all the issues elbow to elbow. And I can say that probably the best testimony of the highly principled individual that Gary Rappaport is shown by his Rappaport team, Larry and Henry and Steve and Christian and others. You know what the company is built on by the integrity and the of the individuals within the company. So Gary, 8 years ago, picked up the phone and called me. And in fact, I think Merrick had made a suggestion, why not talk to Smith Company? They're doing a lot of housing at Washington East. Almost said east of the river. Sorry, East End. I want to say the Upper East Side or the Lower East Side. So literally on a handshake, we agreed to come onto the partnership, and $4.5 million later spent between Gary and myself, here we are today, and we still have that handshake. I think at some point we need to sign that partnership document. But I think that just speaks volumes for who Gary Rappaport is. He's been known as the mayor of Skylands. He's known as Mr. Retail. He runs one of the largest retail operations in the Mid-Atlantic area, and really is known all over the country with all of the retailers around the country as just being a terrific individual to be working with, and leases a tremendous amount of space around our city. So without any further ado, please welcome Gary Rappaport.
Chris, thank you. The history of this for us started back, I think, in the beginning of 2001. I was asked by the district to put a team together. I was speaking across the country and speaking to developers and retailers, and telling them they should put their time and their money and their energies in coming into our cities, because there was an opportunity there. It was difficult, it was time-consuming, but retail is what vitalizes our communities, and retail is what I was selling across the United States at that time. And the district came to me and asked me to put a team together and get involved with a project called Skyland. And I put together the team, and the team has been together, and basically the team's become my family in a way. and this project has as well. But before I get more detail into the project, let me say about the mayor and about this administration, because when you do a public-private partnership, it's a three-legged stool of the public sector, the private sector, and the retailer. And we are the most sophisticated city for many, many years, talking with the retailers and explaining to them how that partnership of the three work. And this mayor has sat, and I've been in meetings for many, many years, as we looked at different anchors potentially for this particular property in the Skyland Town Center. And everything that you've heard about what this mayor has done in bringing Walmart here is true. And we are here at Skyland Town Center because of the mayor's commitment to Skyland Town Center and getting Walmart to the property. In my career, this is absolutely the most important project that I've ever done, the one I'm most proud of to date, and the one I'll be most proud of when it's open and operating. It's not that I've just made friends in the team that we put together, but I made a decision now almost 13 years ago to do something here that I've never done in all the other developments that we've done, and I've tried to come to every single meeting for 13 years. But in doing so, I have made so many friends in this community that I say that I'm proud, I'm happy of where we are today, but I know based on this team that we're long-term owners. We're going to build this project as a Class A shopping center. We're going to operate it as a Class A town center, and we're going to make it successful for the community. That's for sure. I promise that. So if I can, I'd like to thank all of the community members who have been involved to date with this long-anticipated project. And I'd like to acknowledge Earl Williams, Chair of the Skyland Task Force. Zena Williams, single-member district, ANC 7B02 member. Robert Richards, Chair of ANC 7B. Karen Williams, President of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association. Victor Hoskins, Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. Jeff Miller, Director of Real Estate at the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And Namita Shaw, Deputy Director of Real Estate at the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, and a woman that emails with me back at night, late at night, many nights of this entire project. Nita, you're the greatest. The Skyland Development team is made up of 5 partners: my firm Rappaport, which brings retail expertise to the project; W.C. Smith, the residential expert; and our partners, the East Washington Limited Liability Corporation, represented by Carrie Thornhill; the Skyland DC LLC, represented by Merrick Malone and Dean Harrison; and the Marshall Heights Community Development Organization, represented by Board Chair Cable Green and Robin Craig. Carrie Thornhill of the East Washington Limited Liability Corporation will now say a few words.
Oh, happy day. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
And you were terrific last night. Other city officials, neighbors, and friends. Oh, what a beautiful day for Ward 7 and the city. It has been my honor and privilege to bring perspective to this endeavor as a neighbor, civic leader, and a member of the Skyland Development team. Paul, Don, Kathy, Phil, Gloria, Logan, and others will recall when we gathered and made the decision that we no longer were interested in a renovated center, but desired a new one. Then proceeded to prepare a smart sheet, organize a busload of neighbors to attend Mayor Anthony Williams' first Citizen Summit, and overloaded his computers with our goals to make sure it became a priority of the government. Began an effective advocacy from 2000 to April 2002, when the Rappaport Company was selected to work with the National Capital Revitalization Corporation to lead the development team to plan and build a new shopping center at Skyland, and to promote the participation of the Washington East Foundation as a partner in what has proven to be quite an adventure. Some of you weren't around in those days, but some of us have been long-standing, long-suffering at times. From 2002 to 2009, the Washington East Foundation, or WEF, the parent organization of the East Washington LLC, has participated in the Skyland development team as a minority partner, bringing our real estate development perspectives and strategic community and city relationships to benefit the project. In 2009, WEF formed the East Washington Limited Liability Corporation, a for-profit corporation organized in the District of Columbia to participate in the ownership, investment, and management structure of the Skyland Town Center project. The Washington East Foundation is the 100% owner of East Washington LLC, a certified business entity by the district's Department of Small and Local Business Development. East Washington LLC is the managing partner of the Skyland Urban LLC, composed of Merrick Malone, Skyland, D.C., and Marshall Heights through East River Park Incorporated. Over the past 13 years, WEF and East Washington LLC have participated in a full range of pre-development activities, an extensive planned unit development zoning process, the eminent domain processes, the community benefit proposals, and community outreach involving 2 civic associations, 3 advisory neighborhood commissions, 3 Skyland task forces, and other community engagement processes. In addition, we contributed the detailed history for the project's fact sheet on the website and helped make decisions on charitable donations. The Washington East Foundation is an alliance of Ward 7 and 8 residents working together to promote a sense of community between the 2 wards and to improve the quality of life of residents in the East End. WEF operates a limited number of projects and serves as a fiduciary agent for charitable civic initiatives. Program initiatives and spin-off organizations to date have included the Deanwood Heights Main Streets Ward 7 Business Partnership, the Groundwork Anacostia, D.C., and the Ward 7 Coalition on Youth Substance Abuse. And I'd like to acknowledge members of our board and our spinoff organizations. And I see Deborah Jones, and I think there are a few around. Mr. Mayor, you want to know the minority partners have deeply enjoyed working with Gary Rappaport and Chris Smith, their staffs, and their company. They are not only experts in their field, they are socially responsible of the highest order and great people with whom to work. We look forward to helping the city, community, and the team to actualize the town center. In that regard, let me take this opportunity to announce that the Skyland Development Team is hosting a pre-bid CBE conference for the land development on the site on Friday, on Friday, April the 4th at the Hillcrest Recreation Center. All certified business entity subcontractors in the horizontal site work trades are invited to participate. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and what a happy day this is.
Thank you, Carrie. I'd like to introduce Merrick Malone of Skyland DC, LLC.
Good morning. I don't have any notes because I'm Baptist, and you know that saying, you don't know like I know. This was hard. Councilmember Evans, this was harder than MCI. This was one of the most difficult, complex projects that I have ever been associated with, and I've been associated with a few. In fact, I can remember we had a community meeting, and I thought, and I was listening to the debate, and I said, you know what? When we started looking at Skyland, since the time we started looking at it and the time that we are here today, we have built the MCI Arena, we have built the Convention Center, a Costco's. I can go on and on in that period of time. But you know what? You stayed the course. Ward 7 is a remarkable ward. And I will tell you that when I look out in this, I look out and I see people who started in this process back in the 1990s. And in order to do that, you have to have really committed leadership that didn't quit on this project. Council members, you know, there was, you know, at one time you had like 3 representatives from Ward 7 on the council. So what does that tell you about leadership from Ward 7? But you didn't quit. And a lot of, you know, Councilmember Alexander, she didn't quit. Former Councilmember Kwame Brown, he didn't quit on this project. We had people who did not quit. And I will tell you, when Mayor Gray, who having worked with him in administration, see Gary, I wouldn't have rolled my eyes because I know him. When he said that, that's what he meant. He's not backed up. He hasn't retreated. And when he came in the door, I have to tell you something. That's when I really believed it was a wrap, because he came in and said, this is going to get done. And it did. And Brent, I have to thank you for that, because that's who you are. The other thing, when you have a great partner, I will tell you that we've picked each other up, we've worked together on this, and we've been through this process and this ride for 13 years. And I can't think of a better partner to have as a person, as an individual to work with this than my partner, Dean Harrison. Dean, you have to stand, because, get up. You didn't quit. You didn't quit on this project, and it would have been easy to quit on this project. There were times when I wasn't sure we were going to be able to do it, but I will start a fight in an empty room, so I'm not going anywhere. And in order to do that, you will have to have the kind of partners to do that. So you know that Chris Smith, with his commitment to this city, wasn't going to go anywhere. He didn't quit. He just didn't quit. I will tell you something else, too, about Gary Rappaport. If you are a CBE, you should be lucky and you should desire to work with a guy like Gary Rappaport. His integrity, his class, and his tenacity is incredible. And he is the epitome of the kind of partner you would like to have in this city. Because if he hadn't had the tenacity, there were times when I would have said, you know what? This is too hard. Maybe we can't do this. Gary didn't blink, didn't wave, has always involved us in every aspect of this project. He is an incredible individual, and I am proud to be one of his partners. Gary? And finally, I want to talk about, I think that when you start a process like that, and I go back to 1992 with the beginning of this process, and we actually had done the Good Hope Marketplace on my watch. But one of the things, you start a process and you start to move it, and I think about track. And you take the baton and you're the block person and you move it. But the person you need to have to bring it home, to bring the baton home in a race, is the anchor leg. And I can't think of a more enthusiastic, a better anchor who got it done and got us and drove us to this process than our anchor man, my anchor man, Victor Hoskins. Finally, I have to thank the Ward 7A community who has stuck with this. You didn't quit. You kept everybody's feet to the fire, and now the day is a great day. Is a wonderful day, and thank you the most. I see Paul Savage. I see so many of you. We started out, remember, we had black hair, we were taller, and now we grayed, and we're all of that. But thank you, Community Ward 7. You're a remarkable group of people, and without you, we could have never done this. Thank you.
Thank you, Merrick. Now I'd like to introduce Cable Green of Marshall Heights Community Development Organization.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. My name is Cable Green. I am the board chair of Marshall Heights, and I've been around there for roughly 19 years. Since I've been there, I've noticed Marshall Heights to be the bulwark of Ward 7. That environment has done a very great job for the people and the organization. And Marshall Heights Development Corporation, as I know it, is a non-profit, community-based organization that has undertaken community development activities in Ward 7 area of Washington, D.C. since 1979. That's roughly 34 years. So you can see the bulwark, the great spirit of Marshall Heights. I think this is a great big deal what Marshall Heights has done. And earlier, the two speakers here were part of the Marshall Heights organization in furthering the strength of this project. Thank you very much, Mr. Malone and Ms. Thornhill. And of course, over here we have a council member who is also a bulwark, a stalwart in getting things done. Thank you very much. And Mayor Gray also was council member and also, and of course, I've heard people speak of Gary Rappaport, and I know he has done great things in that ward also, along with William C. Smith. Very great job. In my business situation, when I had my business there, Chesapeake Bagel, they used to participate and give me work, so I understand how they help the community. Now, since 2002, Marshall Heights Community Development Organization has led efforts at the Skyland Development Project to develop and implement projects community benefit plan. And Marshall Heights, through its for-profit, because even though we are a non-profit organization, we also have for-profit side of it. And our for-profit side, East River Park, along with its partners, is proud to be a part of this new development at Skyland. Marshall Heights Community Development Organization is committed to supporting the development of quality retail in Ward 7 and also Ward 8 through its involvement with Skyland Town Center. Now, we at Marshall Heights are exceedingly happy to be a participant in this event today. This is a great day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Cable. We are especially happy to welcome Nina Albert of Walmart here today to talk about Walmart's commitment to Skyland.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I am the last speaker on the program, and I think that before I leave the stage and we move to putting shovels in the ground, I'm going to take this opportunity to commend one more time the mayor, Deputy Mayor Hoskins, and the Council of the District of Columbia for showing the leadership, vision, and originally I was going to say tenacity, but I'm going to call it grit, to bring Skyland Town Center to this point where we are finally breaking ground in a very important project for the East End. That rolls off the tongue pretty easy, by the way. Walmart is pleased to be the retail anchor at Skyland, and we look forward to bringing fresh food, a pharmacy, health and beauty, apparel, home goods, electronics, sporting goods, and many other offerings to the residents of Wards 7 and 8. In November of 2011, Walmart concluded a long-term negotiation and conversation with the District of Columbia and created the Community Partnership Initiative, which outlined what Walmart's commitments were to the District of Columbia. But until we delivered our 2 stores on 8th Street and Georgia Avenue, those words were just words, and they were just commitments. But now we have proven that we are delivering on these commitments in the district. We hired 68% district residents in the 2 stores we opened in December. We averaged utilization of 41% CBEs on the construction of those projects. And we have contributed $11.4 million to not-for-profit organizations in D.C. that share the Walmart Foundation's priorities of eliminating hunger, promoting healthy eating, providing career opportunities, and advancing environmental sustainability. We have enjoyed a great relationship with a great development team. Thank you, W.C. Smith, Rappaport, and the whole development team for your leadership, your vision, and your grit to deliver a top-rate project in this neighborhood. Without this major team effort, this day would not be a reality, and we are glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
All right, I think we will go outside and do the ceremonial moving of dirt, and then after that we will do the real moving of dirt.
You know what? We ought to have a group countdown. Given the number of years that we've been waiting to do this, we're going to count down 15, okay? Can everyone move it closer together, please? Are you ready? Count. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all very much for coming.
Very positive. I think people really appreciated, you know, the themes, the tenor of the speech, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from folks.
The beginning of it as well?
Absolutely. I think people appreciated that I addressed that right at the very beginning.
Mr. Mayor, this campaign news that you reacted to. The current newspapers today published a new editorial. They withdrew their endorsement for you, citing a, quote, heightened possibility that you knew about the, what we all know was election 2010. How do you feel about that endorsement being withdrawn?
Well, I think I had earned the endorsement of the current by my performance, and there's nothing that I said before that is different at this stage. I maintain what I've maintained before with respect to the 2010 campaign, and that won't change. And I've tried to speak forthrightly, as you know, Mike, over the last 36 hours to the issues that have arisen. I spoke to it again last night. So I think you'd have to, if the current papers would choose to address it any further, I just leave that to them. I really, there's nothing more I can say than that.
Considering that nothing changed in terms of what you've been saying, if it was fair for them to do what they did?
I'm sorry.
Given that nothing has changed in terms of what you have said, do you think it was fair for them to do what they did?
Well, I think they have to make their own decisions about what they do, Mike. I haven't talked to anybody from the current papers since this issue arose on Monday. I didn't even know anything about it until this morning. But they have to make their own decisions, and you have to, you know, find out from them what their reasoning was.
Share with us your state of mind right now with this cloud.
My state of mind?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I mean, did you see the speech last night? Did you think I was in a pretty good state of mind?
Seemed it, but
I was very happy, especially to talk about. I wanted to talk about this issue up front, and then I wanted to address all the progress that we've made in the District of Columbia. You know, I'm going on with life. I'm going on with running the city, and I don't see any interruption or disruption of how the city is proceeding at this stage.
And with Mr. Catania joining the race, your reaction to that? Mr. Catania entering.
My reaction to that? Yeah. That's down the road.
I guess for years we've always had a reputation of being, a squeaky clean kind of guy. But now there is a cloud. I mean, what do you tell people who says, there they go again in Washington, D.C., another mayor, another situation? How do you make the case for those who may not follow D.C. politics but see something going on? I mean, how do you make that case to them?
That's one of the things I talked about last night, and that is who I am. At this stage in my career, which is, I think everybody would recognize that it's pretty late in my career at this stage, I'm not going to become a different person. I'm the person that I was when I was working for the Association for Retarded Citizens, when I worked for the Department of Human Services, when I worked, thereafter working with homeless children, and then on the council. I have had an unblemished career, an unblemished record, and I don't think anybody, would want to go through this, but I cite my record as the person who I've been, and I'm not a different person at this point. I haven't changed.
You said you did nothing illegal. Do you have any regrets about any of the dealings from your campaign of 2010? Any
regrets?
Or I should have done something different, or I should have steered something a different way?
No, I don't know, because from my perspective, I carried out that campaign in the way I've carried out my life, and that is with integrity, period. Yes.
Before you really kind of said, I'm not talking about this, but now you are talking about this. Why?
Well, I think because of the issues that have arisen, I decided that it was appropriate to talk about it. There are things that have been put on the table that I think deserve to be refuted, and that's what I've tried to do.
What are you doing in this campaign to ensure that you don't have anything like this on the other end? Are you vetting people differently?
Well, I think you guys probably looked thoroughly at this campaign, and I would invite you to do that. You're welcome to talk to our campaign manager. You're welcome to talk to the finance director. You're welcome to talk to anybody. I will say this, that it really is difficult as a candidate to be involved in every detail of a campaign. It's almost impossible. I had a job then as the council chair, which I did the best job I could of carrying that out. And I have a job now as mayor. I mean, look at this. We're out here all morning with a very important event, which I wouldn't cite as a campaign event. This is a mayoral function that we're carrying out today. And to whatever extent the campaign, functions that are being carried out, they obviously are not involving me right at this point in a direct way because I'm out here. I just don't think it's possible to be in the jobs like I've been in, and that is council chair and mayor, to be able to focus on every detail of a campaign. I even had a conversation yesterday with the gentleman who is the campaign manager, Adam Rubinson, and I asked him again what I've asked him before. I said, Adam, did you see anything untoward happening during the campaign in 2010? He was there every day. I wasn't. And he said, absolutely not. And I said, are you sure of that? He said, yes, I'm absolutely sure. I saw absolutely nothing taking place. I asked another person, Stephanie Reich, who was there in the office every day, if she saw anything odd taking place. And she said, no, she saw nothing odd taking place. So, and I would invite you to talk to them. I would invite you to talk to Chuck Thies or Ariel Linsky or the people who are working on the campaign now, and ask them the same questions.
Mayor, if you're saying that as a candidate you can't be, I'm sorry, if you're saying, if you're saying as a candidate you can't be involved in every aspect of your campaign, are you saying that there's a possibility that something could have gotten by you because you weren't able to monitor every detail?
Well, Yes. I mean, I don't think it's possible to monitor every detail in a campaign. I just don't think that's possible. And I see it now. And obviously I have heightened vigilance as a result of what happened in 2010, but it is not possible to be. I'll be honest with you. Our campaign headquarters is at 1522 Rhode Island Avenue. I've been in there twice during this campaign. So again, I cite that as a prima facie case of how difficult it is to run a campaign and to be involved in a job of with the demands that this one has associated with it. Right.
Quick Skyland question. Oh, right. Walmart was here speaking, but the deal is not done as far as we know. There is no lease yet. So how can we be assured, or how can the community be assured that this groundbreaking wasn't premature? Given there have been groundbreakings in the past.
I don't do premature groundbreakings. I've been to those before, Mike, when I was a council chair. So I don't have any doubt. I mean, we have a developer who has been with this from the very beginning. I don't know, Victor, if you want to speak further to it, but I don't have any reservations about this getting done. I mean, you had Walmart here today speaking to their commitment to this project. I don't think that there's any turning back at this stage. There's just no way that would happen. Not in my opinion, anyway.
Yes. Question on Skyland. Talked to a number of people out here concerned that people who live in these communities get the jobs in these communities. Is there concern about whether or not they will have the skills and they will get top priority to get these positions?
Is there a concern they would have the skills, Bruce? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Do you have a skilled workforce here to take these jobs, and are they going to be given preference when it comes to hiring, both construction and the retail jobs?
Well, the answer to the latter question is yes. We'll have 300 construction jobs, 300 permanent jobs that will be created as a result of this development. Clearly, we want to focus on the folks who live here, who are in these communities, being able to get jobs. Our workforce development system now is focusing on 3 areas in particular, and one of them is construction. And we're prepared to work with those who are involved with the development of these projects, the construction of these projects, to make sure we have candidates and be able to provide the training for those candidates. Walmart mentioned that they hired 68% of their hires were residents of the District of Columbia, which is a very high number. And we want to see at least the same number, if not more, hired for the construction process as well as for the permanent jobs that will be created here.
As always is the case with Walmart, though, you have to concern with smaller businesses.
Oh, sure. I was only using Walmart as an illustration because Mike Niebauer used them as he asked a question about them. But of course.
What about, how do you strike a balance? Can the guys up here on Newhook Road survive? Walmart selling the same merchandise. Can you have a CVS with a Walmart pharmacy?
What's your question, Derek?
Is Walmart going to squeeze out any other burgeoning businesses, small communities?
I certainly hope not. I think actually there will be small businesses that will flourish. I don't know of any small businesses in the area of 8th Street or Georgia Avenue that have been squeezed out as a result of the Walmarts being there.
I guess the follow-up on the Walmart piece, I won't be stuck at the tent, but it's like this was the Walmart is supposed to be the anchor. That's a big deal. And I must have missed it, but I didn't hear the Walmart guys at the table today. What is the thing holding up Walmart?
Walmart was here. That was Nina Albert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Hamil.
Some of the residents I spoke to outside expressed concern about being able to afford the housing. I know that there's a component of affordable housing set aside, but about how much is the rest of it going to cost?
Yeah, the affordable housing component will be very substantial. I think 400 or 500 units. How many units will be 143? 143? Okay, 143 will be affordable at various levels of the AMI, from anywhere from 30 to 80, I suppose, 30 to 80%. So there is a very significant focus on making sure that this is a development that will be for people of mixed income.
The police union today announced their endorsement for Tommy Wells. That's the police union. You got their endorsement 4 years ago. What's your reaction to that? What can you say about your commitment to police officers going forward?
I think that there were those who, in the police union, the leadership then is no longer there, they were very upset about me retaining Chief Lanier. I think that was a good decision. I think she's been a great chief, and I stand behind the chief. I never made a promise to keep or not to keep the chief during the campaign. So someone said in the aftermath that they were upset. They thought I had said that I was going to get a new police chief. I don't have any recollection of saying that, Mike. And so I regret that they've made, that they came to that conclusion, but it's not a conclusion that I came to with respect to Kathy Lanier. And I think she's a great chief. I think she's one of the best chiefs of police in America. Okay, thank you all very much.